Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I thought I would do my top 5 games that I am looking forward to in 2019 and one that I am not. Why am I doing a top X list? Well, I suppose a cynic might say it was because search engines really like those top X lists and I'm selling out to try and boost my viewing figures. I suppose an optimist might say that it's because we're reaching the end of January and now that the dust of Christmas has settled, it's a good time to take a look at what is coming over the rest of the year and what good things we can all look forward to. A realist, I guess, would say, well, I had to put my painting station away recently. I haven't had any new products in the post, and playthrough videos take absolutely ages to edit, and I had nothing else to put up, and I wanted to put up some content. I guess I would say, well, you're probably asking the wrong question. The question isn't, why have I done this? The question should be, why should you care? And I don't have a good answer to that. But anyway, regardless, here are my top 5 picks for things that I am looking forward to. And before we get into that, a few minor points. First of all, I don't do Kickstarter. I do not do Kickstarter, so I do not look forward to anything that is coming from Kickstarter. It's just, it's fine if people want to get involved in Kickstarter. I have done Kickstarters in the past, but I have last year I made the decision that was it. I was done with Kickstarter. I never got into it in a big way, and so I don't even look at things coming out on Kickstarter. So anything I'm talking about is stuff that's coming to general release. It may already have been on Kickstarter, it may already have been delivered to Kickstarter people, but I'm looking at retail products. The other thing is, top 5 games is a bit of a misnomer because there's not actually that much that I'm looking forward to at the moment, really, but there are some expansions for things that I'm looking forward to, so there may be expansions in this list. Hint, there are expansions in this list. And I guess that's it. That's the 2 provisos, really. So getting on with it, the first thing to note. Oh no, there is one more thing. I don't tend to look too far in advance. That's the third point. I try to live for the day as much as possible. I don't like to wish my life away. I'm turning 40 this year, and the last thing I want to be doing is going, oh, I can't wait for a game that's coming out 3 years from now. So I tend to look a little bit things that are imminent and stuff like that. Fortunately, Games Workshop tend to be quite imminent. They announce something and then within a few months it arrives. But not everything on this list is Games Workshop related. Point in question, the first product on my list, number one is the Alien vs Predator Hot Landing Zone expansion, which I've already pre-ordered and which I've already had a notification that it is on the way, and I am hoping to receive it in the next couple of weeks. Now, I have been meaning to do a review of Alien vs Predator The Hunt Begins, which is the base game, because this is an expansion. I've been meaning to do that review on Always Bored, Never Boring for absolutely ages, and I just haven't. I've written an introduction, but I'm finding it very difficult to express my thoughts on it because I'm quite aware that it's not the best game in the world. It's very old-fashioned. It's a little bit clunky. I usually use the phrase, it's so clunky the wheels barely go round. But it's a theme that I love. The miniatures are absolutely beautiful, and I'm collecting all of the Unicast miniatures that they're releasing for it, and I have an immense amount of fun playing it. But that doesn't really work as a review. This game's probably rubbish, but I love it. It doesn't cut it as a review, so I'm having difficulty getting something down for it. But I will get round to it. But needless to say, I love the game enough to have collected all of the Unicast miniatures that are available for it so far, and when they announced the imminent arrival of Hot Landing Zone, I was well up for that. Now, the Hot Landing Zone is very exciting because it's a whole new expansion that adds a jungle environment and the dropship, and look, there's some little tokens that represent Pharaoh, although it's not Pharaoh because they don't have the rights to use any of the characters from the Aliens movie. The exciting thing is that it's got a whole bunch of new Unicast miniatures It comes with a unit of spitter aliens, some ranged firepower for the alien faction, which is great. It comes with a hunter predator with a cool like spinal column whip. He's going to be something that teams up well with the hellhounds that I've shown in the previous video. They have introduced a unit of convicts. The storyline here is that they use convicts to set up colonies on potentially dangerous planets. So they send in the convicts do all the work and get the colony established, and then they ship the convicts off to another territory and then ship in the actual colonists to do the work. So and on this occasion, I guess there's been a crash and there's aliens and things have gone a bit pear-shaped. But yeah, so there's some convicts, which is quite cool. And the final thing is, it is for the first time they have made a synthetic person, and that's really cool because that's going to be something new. I don't know what mechanisms are going to be involved in having that synthetic human, but it's nice to finally get one. And look, he's in one piece. He hasn't been ripped in half or anything. He hasn't had his head off. He's not spitting milk. It's all good. So that is Alien vs Predator, the Hot Landing Zone expansion, which is my first pick for 2019 and hopefully will be appearing on my channel very, very soon. The second pick, pick number 2, is continuing a bit of a theme. It's Aliens: Another Glorious Day in the Core, which is a game that I've been aware of for a little while. I thought it was going to come out last year, but I guess it got delayed. But it should be coming out this year. I don't know a huge amount about it, except it's a miniatures game based on the Aliens movie, so it has miniatures for the Aliens characters. I would be lying if I said this wasn't one of the biggest draws for me. It's because obviously I've been collecting these Alien miniatures from Protoss games, and now we're getting some official miniatures based on the original Colonial Marines from the movies and plus Ripley. So that is something that appeals to me greatly. Obviously, I'm not that fussed on the Alien miniatures. I may even swap those out with Protoss miniatures, who knows. But obviously I'm also keen to play the game, although I do not know much about the game. I've seen a couple of character sheets I've lifted off of Board Game Geek, and to be honest, they don't fill me with massive amounts of confidence. There's a grammatical error on the Vasquez card. It says it says a aim action, which is not pleasant reading. And also there's a weird bit on the Ripley card where under the heading of once per marine turn it describes an action, and within the text of the action it says you can use it once a turn. So that's really weird. I have to hope those are early like beta examples of cards and not what is going to be in the final product, because they make me a little bit wary. But overall, it's a game based on the Aliens movie with Aliens miniatures and miniatures for the characters from the Aliens movie, so I'm very excited about that, even before I know much more about what it is all about. And you know, it's going to be a dungeon crawly sort of a game, isn't it? The third thing that I am looking forward to, it's an expansion. It's an expansion for Blackstone Fortress, Games Workshop's Blackstone Fortress, Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. It's a great game. It's really good fun, and they have already announced an expansion for it, the dreaded Amble. The Amble is a creature that has not been seen in miniature form since the old Rogue Trader days. If I can find a picture of the old Amble miniature, I'll stick it up in the video roundabout here. But the new Amble from the expansion it's an absolute joy. Except for perhaps I'm not keen on the weird maggoty things dropping out of his armpit. It's a bit gross, and I don't think it looks that great. But the rest of the sculpt is absolutely beautiful. It's a whole new mini quest. You can hunt the Amble whilst you're on the Blackstone Fortress. There's going to be new cards, new items, new missions, new challenges, just more of everything for Blackstone Fortress, and a whopping great big boss monster to fight. That's exciting. So I don't know much more about that at the moment, but that will be coming out this year, and it will be an instant pre-order for me to help expand the Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress game. So that's number 3. Number 4, taking a swift left turn, deviating from what you might be expecting. I'm keen to pick up Jurassic Park Danger, the board game from Ravensburger. Now, this game has already been out in America, but it's not out in the UK at the moment, and it comes out very, very soon. And it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty sweet. It's super cheap as well. I think you can pre-order it for about £25 at the moment. And Jurassic Park is one of my favourite movies, and I think the game looks pretty solid. It's got a nice card-driven mechanism for activating a character. You play a card and do what the card says. When you take injuries, you lose cards from your hand. If you can't do anything, you die. There's no player elimination, because if a character dies, then you pick one of the remaining leftover characters and come back into the game again. So that's pretty cool, because player elimination sucks. And it looks like a fun family sort of a game. I can see, having some fun with that. One player plays the dinosaurs. They get 3 different dinosaurs to run around the board, and they have to eat the survivors on the island, whilst the survivors have to try and activate 3 different buildings and then get to the helipad and escape from the island. So it looks pretty straightforward. It looks like a modular island. It's probably not going to be the greatest game in the world, but I do like some nice light family games, and something with a strong theme based on one of my favourite movies of all time obviously appeals to me. So that is my 4th pick. For pick number 5, things get tricky, because there's not a lot that I have seen that I'm particularly excited about. And like I say, I don't look at Kickstarter. I don't get excited about Kickstarter products. There was Iridia, The Paths We Dare Tread, which looks pretty cool, and the designer diaries for that on Board Game Geek have been interesting, but that's going to go to Kickstarter, so I'm not even thinking about that as my 5th pick, although if it was going to go to retail this year, then it certainly would have been my 5th pick. What else is there? I'm obviously keen to continue collecting the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine, because I'm getting some cool stuff in that over 2019, but I don't feel like I can pick that. There is a new Sonic Crash Course game from IDW, which looks like silly fun. I can't imagine it's going to be particularly expensive. It's got some cool pre-painted miniatures. You get Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Dr. Robotnik. Yes, I'm going to call him Dr. Robotnik, because he was always Dr. Robotnik to me, or Eggman. So it looks like cute fun. It looks like something I can play with my daughter, and we should have a laugh with. It's a racing game, obviously. It's a Sonic game. Sonic games are always going to be a racing game, aren't they? And I don't know a lot about it, but it looks really cute. So that's quite nice. But not knowing enough about it, I can't really use it as my 5th pick. So I guess my 5th pick is going to be a bit of a cop-out. So and it's going to be the Fieries expansion for the Labyrinth board game. And it is solely because the miniatures for the Labyrinth board game are lovely. They are beautifully sculpted, and this is a set of 5 new miniatures for the Labyrinth board game. The Labyrinth board game itself is not good. I have written a review of it on Always Bored Never Boring, in which I was not particularly positive about it, and that is putting it mildly. And I've done some coverage on my channel here on YouTube. But the miniatures are fantastic, and the game's actually my wife's. I bought it for my wife, and then they released the Goblins expansion, which had cool miniatures for the Goblins, and I bought that for her. And now Fieries are coming out, and I will definitely buy those for her as well, because you get the 4 Fieries, which are one of the best things about the movie, and you also get a different version of Jareth. You get Jareth in his Endgame outfit with his floaty white cloak, and they're just really nice miniatures. So that is my 5th pick. It's so all in all, my 5 picks predominantly we've got 2 new games and 3 expansions. A lot of these picks have been driven by nostalgia and a kinship with the theme more than anything else. But I also promised you that there would be one pick of something I am not looking forward to, and I thought I would pick something that is probably my biggest disappointment for 2019, and that is the new The Lord of the Rings adventure game from Fantasy Flight Games. Now, the main reason that I'm using this as my pick for one I'm not looking forward to is because it has app integration and it is an essential app. Now, I can immediately feel a disturbance in the force as many people go to click the downvote button on this video, but let me explain. I don't care about apps in board games. You see a lot of people hyperventilating about the addition of apps in board games, saying it's an invasion and it's ruining my hobby. I don't think it's ruining my hobby. I think if people want to have games with apps and people want to design games with apps, then fine, go and design games with apps. It's no different to, I like horror movies, I'm not that keen on romantic comedies. I don't think a director going and directing a romantic comedy is ruining my enjoyment of movies. It's the same thing for me. So the fact that there are games coming out that have app integration, I don't need to get all red-faced about that and bluster and say it's a travesty. But for me personally, I don't want to play games which have an essential app element. And the Lord of the Rings game uses the app as the adversary to sort of control monsters and things like that. And because I won't play a game which has an essential app, that is a disappointment to me. Why won't I play a game with an app? Well, one, I'm self-employed and I work incredibly long hours and I spend a huge amount of time staring at screens, and I don't want to be staring at screens all the time. And that's pretty much the main reason. The other reason being, I like the tactile nature of board games. I like shuffling cards. I like holding hands of cards. I like moving miniatures. I like drawing tokens. I have a tactile connection with board games. The way that you interact with them. I love video games. I play video games. I'm currently playing the heck out of Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's not that it's not that I have an issue with video games and technology and things like that. It's just when I play board games are my true passion, and I experience board games on a number of different levels in a number of different ways, and I don't want to be tapping on a iPad screen or a phone when I'm playing a board game. I want that hands-on tactile nature. I want that shuffling of cards and everything else that comes with that. And when I've got friends around the table, I don't want all of my friends to be staring at a screen. I don't want them, that would happen if we were playing a video game or watching a movie. I want us around the table talking to each other and interacting with the board. So I don't have a problem per se with apps, and I don't think I'm saying apps are bad, they shouldn't make games with apps, because I think very much they should make games with apps, because I think designers should make the games they want to play. If a designer wants to make a game that has an app, that is absolutely their right, and I am in no position to say don't do it, because it's wrong. It's not wrong, it's a creative choice, and there are certainly going to be an audience for people who do want it. So I'm not saying apps shouldn't be in board games. I'm just saying that for me personally, an app shouldn't be in a board game for me on my table. And because Lord of the Rings does have an app, that was a disappointment for me, and that's a shame. Although having said that, I have had a little look at some of the Lord of the Rings stuff, and there are a few other things that I have issues with. I've looked at some of the cards and things, and there sure does seem to be a lot of cards that have very similar functionality. It's like discard this card to get one success on a test, and there seems to be 6 different stats, and there's 6 different cards that do the same thing from the look of this picture here. I'm not a fan of the miniatures. I mean, obviously I've not seen the miniatures in real life, I've only seen this picture here, but these character miniatures are not doing anything for me. They're very weird and chunky looking, and that's not doing anything for me. And also there's a weird choice of characters. There's Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli. those are obvious choices and they're good choices. They are the only 3 characters who are pretty much together for the entirety of the story. They join together in the Fellowship, and they remain together after the breaking of the Fellowship, and they are together right up until the March on Mount Doom. They are always together, so it makes sense that those 3 characters should be in there. But then they've put Bilbo in instead of Frodo, which is a slightly odd choice. I mean, I understand that it's like fan fiction, isn't it? It's a what-if scenario, but it looks like they've put young Bilbo in there, so he's out of sync time-wise with the other 3 characters there. And then they've included, I believe that they're called Beravor and Eleanor, which are characters that Fantasy Flight Games have made up themselves. I think they should have gone one or the other, really. I think you either have playable characters that are all made-up characters, which is fine. I mean, they've done that in video games, where you play a made-up character within the world, and they also, I mean, Fantasy Flight Games did that with the Star Wars Imperial Assault game. You don't actually play any of the named characters, but named characters may come into your adventures, and that seems fine by me. Or alternatively, you should have all characters from the actual canon from the story that makes sense being together, and they've kind of done this weird hodgepodge. And missing out Frodo is, he's obviously going to, it's already, you can already see the expansions coming, and there's no Boromir, for goodness sake. Why wouldn't you put Boromir's the best character? Everybody loves Boromir. He should be there. That's all I've got to say on that. So, I just want to stress as well that although I'm saying this is 5 games I'm looking forward to and one I'm not looking forward to, I'm not saying that The Lord of the Rings is going to be a bad game. I'm not saying that I'm expecting it to be abysmal. It's just a game that I was immediately intrigued and then almost instantly turned off from for various different reasons. But I'm sure the people who are very excited about it are going to absolutely love it, and it is going to sell like hotcakes. Hot cakes branded with Lord of the Rings. And that, I think, is possibly more than enough gabbling from me. I have no idea whether this has been of interest to anybody. Hopefully it has. If you're still with me at this point, thank you very much for staying with me. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to what I've got to say. And I will be back very soon to talk some more gibberish. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.